How did I become the Drift King? I can only say that I was driving day and night. I guess people call it practicing and hard work. But to me, I was just having fun out there. To enjoy driving, or shall we say practice for now, all you need is some safe, clear space. This will be enough. Let's start with a 180-degree turn. The first thing I tried, right after I got my driver's license, is this. Pull the e-brake and try to end up facing the direction I came from. In my days, it was cool to be able to do this and get it right. You know, you guys have these cones or pylons now, but in my days, we didn't have anything like that, nor were we smart enough to think of using one. If I had these cones back then, I would have improved much faster. Obviously, in the beginning, I couldn't get it right like this. It used to be like this. I was scared and didn't know how fast I should be going, so I would stop like this. But turning the car in the direction that you came from, without stopping the engine, means that the driver is stepping on the clutch to turn the car around. In the beginning, it's okay to mess up and stop facing the wrong direction, or even stall the engine. But don't get scared. Just try it in a safe, closed environment. And once you learn how to turn 180 degrees with an e-brake, your next step should be making 90-degree turns. I never did this on the streets. The important thing is to keep trying, and of course, practice in a safe place. Turning 90 degrees is a cool trick. Let's say this is a right-angle corner, and you go like this. This 90-degree turn is easy once you get the hang of pulling the e-brake, adjusting your speed, and counter-steering to face the right direction. Once you master these two techniques, you'll want to install an LSD. You'll be able to turn 180 degrees and move on to doing 360s without stalling the engine. But remember, this is after you've completed the 90 and 180 degree turns. Believe me, you will be able to do this only if you know the basic techniques of sliding the car from a simple tail slide to a power slide, adjusting the drifting with your gas pedal. The LSD really comes after you master the basic techniques. The important thing here is to discover how much fun it is to play with your car. Like here, I can turn just by pulling the e-brake. When you learn to do this correctly, you'll want to do it on the track.
The main objective of this special training program is that you have fun driving your car. If you have fun, you'll be calm enough to sense the behavior of your car, and at the same time, you won't be scared of your tail sliding anymore. Tsuchiya says that if you go through these training programs, you'll be able to drift on track for sure. Watching this DVD should enable you to look over the weak points of your driving, and from there, try out the various drifting techniques that Tsuchiya has illustrated. The lesson continues. Special training program number 4 is learning how to use the handbrake according to the radius of the corner.
Okay, first of all, okay, here. How about this? See, I countersteered and stopped the car facing the direction I want to exit. You have to countersteer toward the exit direction. You can see here that I am actually countersteering. And it's okay to pull the e-brake and stop here. Beginners tend to end up facing the wrong direction, like this. So, controlling the car towards the direction that you want to go is crucial here. You can do this by adjusting how long you actually pull the e-brake. I was supposed to go that way, but I was pulling the e-brake too long. But let's face it, you'll mess up at the beginning, so learn from your mistakes and don't smash up your car and pay for repairs all the time like I did. You guys have places like this, Driftland. I think it's important to practice without worrying about your repair fees or putting someone else in danger. Here, I'm pulling the e-brake too long, letting the car slide too much. In this situation, your left hand is pulling the e-brake, and your right hand working the counter steer is too slow. This is how you'll end up facing the direction that you came from. So, just shorten the time you're pulling the e-brake. This is what happens when you steer too much. This was a good example. As you just saw, I began counter-steering too late, and then I recovered the counter-steer too late. As a result, my car just lost control. If all my steering work was done earlier, I could have avoided this. If you end up doing this, just hit the brakes and stop the car. Take a deep breath and calm down. You won't get anywhere trying to recover from this state, so just stop the car and chill, okay? And start from zero all over again. Okay, let's review the training program. I admit that this training needs effort, but you want to have fun too. So find a safe place to practice and start from the 180-degree turn. Then try the 360, but you need an LSD to do this. Then the 90-degree turn. And when you learn all this, come to a track like this one to practice, where you can find something like this. To practice doing donuts, you need an LSD. Come to a track like this to practice pulling the e-brake along the actual radius of the corner. If it's a 90-degree corner, just pull the e-brake for a second, countersteer, and then hit the gas. For 180, which actually is a U-turn, you need to keep pulling for at least 1 second to let the tail slide. So practice and learn to get the feeling of what kind of speed, angle, and steering work is needed for various turns. I said practice, but you'll have so much fun, you won't feel like you're practicing at all. You'll have a lot of fun, I can guarantee that. Until you can do all of this with your eyes closed, you'll be spending a lot of your pocket money on tires. You know, if you can't afford new tires, just get some nice ones for the front and go to a scrapyard for the rear tires. Used tires from a scrapyard can be put to good use on a drift machine. After you practice with used tires and become better at drifting, well, let's say you can countersteer and kick the gas in towards the corner exit and drift properly once every 3 times. You're now ready to get some good tires on all 4 wheels. At this point, you should be wearing the same tires in the front and the back. With new tires, you're dealing with real grip. And here, maintenance is very important. If you are like me, and you love cars, you have to take good care of them, right? If you practice like this, with your e-brake all the way up here, if you leave it, you're out. Your e-brake should at least be like this. Sometimes there are guys going like this. I mean, you're not driving a train for crying out loud. So please, use some sense to maintain your car. I used to adjust my e-brakes once a month. Back then, the e-brake was all I had. At one time, I couldn't turn without it. I'm serious. And brake balance is also important. Racing cars have brake balance adjusters, but production cars don't. So we have to adjust brakes by changing the brake pads. Beginners tend to think that just changing the front pads can make some difference. But what a big mistake. It will make some changes, but it just messes up your balance. For instance, my front pads are Image C2, but if the rear pads were stock, only the front pads will work and mess up the balance. But again, there are preferences according to the driver. So another important thing is, don't just imitate the pros and simply install pads. You need to find the ones that suit your driving style. I like the linear feeling, but you might prefer ones that need hard braking to get it working, like the Super Sports brake pads. So, choose the right pads depending on your style and the front tire grip. Doing nothing to the rear won't get you anywhere. I assure you, you'll have a hard time in the corners. Say you're in a braking drift, and beginners often pull the e-brake, right? In that case, you need a decent pair of rear brake pads to get the rear tires to lock by pulling the e-brake. Plus, if you're wearing poor grip tires on the rear, it's easier to lock them with decent rear pads. When you become an intermediate drifter, you can now step on the gas when you're tail sliding, right? If you drift for 5 days a week like I used to, you need to overhaul your LSD once every month or so. This means if you go drifting once a week, you'd need an LSD overhaul at least once every 8 months or so. An LSD that needs an overhaul feels like a viscous LSD, and it's not fun at all. The car won't exit properly, and sometimes kills the drifting. You only end up with worn-out rear tires because the inner wheels keep spinning. It just ruins the fun of drifting. So make sure to overhaul your LSD and maintain your drift machine in healthy condition. You will have more fun on a well-maintained drift machine.